Hey everyone, Chief Monishagan. This video is all about the Lake Worth community, its uniqueness, and our unique approach to policing in this environment. So our mission statement at Lake Worth PD is to create a safe environment where life and commerce thrive. And that's really important because Lake Worth, even though it has a small geographical footprint and there are only about 5,000 people who live here, we serve a huge population of people. So we always place emphasis not only on our citizens, but also on our visitors. So Lake Worth is a thoroughfare. State Highway 199 passes right through the middle of the city, and then cutting through on the other side of the city is Interstate Loop 820. So two major roadways with a lot of people driving on them creates this population of people who don't live here in Lake Worth. And so that presents a unique challenge to the police department because ordinarily you would be able to engage with and develop a relationship with the people that you're serving because they live here and you get to know them. And we do have that relationship with our community, with our residents, but we facilitate the movement of about 100,000 cars or people a day. And so those folks don't live here. And so the question for us is, how do you engage with those people? How do you ensure that they feel protected and safe and served while they're here? And so we take unique approaches like having a robust and very proactive social media presence, engaging with print media and our city's community guide, and being very active in our retail areas where we're out and we're visiting with people. And a lot of them don't live here, but it's very important for us to maintain a relationship with them because in the event they need our services, we want the trust to be there. So again, there's a lot of people who come through Lake Worth and spend time and money in this community who don't reside here. And so we really want to make sure that while they're here, they feel like we're their hometown police department. We treat them like the deserving guests that they are. So if they're in our community and they happen to need police service, we want to go above and beyond and ensure that they receive incredible, exceptional service. Likewise, our community members, many of them have lived here for generations. This is a very proud community, and so there's an incredible amount of history here, and a lot of folks in our community who remember it before it was this urban connector that it is now. So we have this balance of new and developing, and a lot of energy with the history and the dignity and respect of Lake Worth as it was years ago. And so we are able to balance that and interact with both components, and it makes for a really interesting and fun policing environment. So knowing how important commerce is to the city, it's really the lifeblood that allows us to exist. So 60 to 70% of the city's revenue comes from sales tax. And as you know, that comes from people being in the city, shopping, eating, filling up their cars with gas, all of that kind of stuff. So that is a big percentage that is not typical for municipalities like ours. And so it's very important for us to preserve and give focus to the commerce element here in Lake Worth, because without it, we would not exist in the form that we do. After all, we have a large number of officers for such a small geographical city, about 30 officers or so for a 2.5 square mile footprint. So There's definitely a need for police presence, but we're able to provide such great service to the community because people come here and shop here and they like to enjoy the city. So with that said, and knowing how important commerce is to the community, we, the police department, have had to align our strategic objectives to support that effort. So our number one line of effort is retail and retail-related crime. That is the largest driver of crime in our community. And so we take a unique approach to that. We develop great partnerships with our local retailers, and we really focus on shoplifting and the prevention of shoplifting and doing a good job of working up thorough and complete cases on those who would try to shoplift in our community, in the hopes that we can develop those cases into organized retail theft cases. So that's kind of our bread and butter. And we know, again, that we have to preserve the commerce element for everything else to fall in after that. So retail and retail-related crime is number one. The second line of effort is traffic and traffic-related crime. As I mentioned, we're a major thoroughfare, and a lot of people depend on our roadways being open and moving efficiently to get to and from work, to get to and from school. And so because we know how important that is to the people passing through and the people who live here, we put a lot of time, energy, and resources towards making sure those lines are open, that our roadways flow efficiently. And that comes with significant priority placed on traffic enforcement, crash reduction, and DWI enforcement. So we're a thoroughfare. We're directly connected to downtown Fort Worth, which has a lot of entertainment. And what we've found over the years is that we have a pretty significant amount of impaired drivers that like to pass through. And so we've, in recent years, placed a lot of emphasis on impaired driving enforcement, and we've had amazing results. So over the last 3 years, since 2017, we've reduced traffic crashes by 63%, while increasing DWI arrests by 494%. So in doing that, by taking a proactive approach to traffic enforcement, we've reduced traffic crashes, which enables traffic and commerce to flow freely, and that in turn supports the lifeblood of the city, which is commerce itself. So that's how the police department's mission intersects with the city's mission, and it all works in unison to support each other. Then the third line of effort that we have is everything else, and that's what many of you who are in law enforcement would think of as traditional law enforcement activities. These are proactive neighborhood patrols, responding to noise complaints and reckless drivers and doing preventative patrols and things like that. Not to say that those things are not important, because they're absolutely important, but they don't drive crime in our city like they do in other communities. So we, again, have structured a unique approach to crime because we're operating in a very unique environment. If you're from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we are a comparable city to the city of Addison over in Dallas. Addison is small geographically, but again, it's a very lively, active city. So if you're from that side of the Metroplex, and if you're familiar, we're very comparable in how we operate in the unique environment that we're in here in Lake Worth. So a few other things about the city is Lake Worth has its own independent school district. So we're surrounded by Fort Worth on four sides. We have the lake to our west, but Lake Worth PD is not responsible for the lake. The city of Fort Worth actually owns the lake. They own the houses around the lake, and the lake is patrolled by the Fort Worth Marshal's Office. But like I said, we do have our own school district, which serves students not only that live in Lake Worth, but who also live in the city of Fort Worth. As far as kind of amenities and things that are happening in or around our community, right across the lake, kind of to the southeast, we have the Navy Reserve Base, NASJRB Fort Worth. It was formerly known as Carswell Air Force Base. So that draws a lot of people in, a lot of defense industry surrounding that, including Lockheed Martin, who manufactures the F-35. That's one of the cool things about working here at Lake Worth PD is we are right in the flight path for the base. And so we get to see all kinds of incredible military equipment flying over the base. The F-35, we've recently seen Air Force One, the Blue Angels, all kinds of stuff. So it's really cool to be able to see those aircraft and be in a military-like environment. But other than that, we've got, all kinds of activities that are associated with being in a suburban metropolitan area. So a lot of close amenities, a lot of stuff happening in and around Fort Worth and around the community of Lake Worth. So it's very active. We're very busy. Our peak call times occur normally between noon and 5 p.m. is our peak. And then kind of dwindles thereafter. But again, anything that you would experience in any other city as far as crimes or calls or whatever, we have all of that. And there's very little time, very little downtime, I guess. Our team is able to stay busy, but there's plenty of time for proactive activity. And I guess I should clarify that it's not, we don't operate in a call to call environment. There'll be a few calls every day. There's a couple of crashes every day, but for the most part, there's plenty of room to be proactive and engage in whatever kind of activity you would want to engage in. So I hope that helps. I want to have officers on in follow-on videos to continue this conversation and talk about the community and policing in this community and why they enjoy it so much. So be looking for that. Of course, as always, if you have any questions or need us to clarify something, please don't hesitate to let us know. Take care.